Like, it took me 2 minutes to process that until I then realised what you'd said.
Yeah?
It took me a while, yeah.
Yeah, the TMP is
The
great.
TMP, the turbo machine penis.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to sit, so Mr. Sir Galahad has gifted 1.
Yeah.
And Brandon Lagasse has already gifted 5.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here and wait for this to tick over into the 100 and then we'll start.
Meat Squadron says, perfect start time. I dropping a dump.
Well done, mate. Good work.
Dropping that.
I messaged Kyle this morning, right, about something, and the first response I get from him now is, "Are you having a pee?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You only message me when you're having a shit." I was like, "Must be the smell. Reminds me of you."
Yeah. The smell of failure.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel on this average, I'd call it, kind of Thursday.
Yeah, it's a bit overcast.
Yeah.
It's a bit muggy.
England's 2-day summer is done.
Yeah.
Our clear blue skies and sunshine for 2 days is done, and now there's just clouds everywhere.
Yeah.
It's back to being England again. But hey ho, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I hope the day is happy enough that you consider smashing the like button for us, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon.
Smash it.
If you want to be notified every single time we go live or up on a new video. Thank you so much to those people that have already gifted, including the incredible, the unbelievable, they're probably slightly bigger dick than everybody else, Rosanero 7847, who's gifted 20 now.
20.
That's 26 off the bat, Jay.
That is. That's strong.
Yeah, it's
We're
incredible.
getting to 100 on a Liam and Joe show on the average now.
No, it's not. He got us to 280.
280.
I said it quietly so they didn't hear.
How many t-shirts did you get?
I gave away 3 or 4 t-shirts in the
that's
end.
not bad.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the incredible support as we come towards the end of June, which was looking to be a bit worse. And over the last couple of days, you guys have been fucking smashing it again. So thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. I appreciate you. And as always, today, Thursday, after Tuesday's chat, Joe and I are strongly considering turning Tuesdays into AOS focus and Thursdays into full 40k focus and not crossing those boundaries and not crossing those streams, at the moment at least.
Unless it's a new codex.
Unless it's new codex or Battletome, And so today, we're going to talk about something 40k specific.
Yeah.
That being said, it is something I think they've got slightly better now, or they've done slightly better now in Age of Sigmar in 4th edition.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a relevance in Age of Sigmar to this because both systems now use command points. There was a comment right at the start of the stream by, I think it was Escape, that said command points are the root of all evil. They're the biggest problem. They should just be got rid of.
Yeah, they killed 40k.
Essentially.
The world is over.
Which is, I don't entirely disagree with per se, but then AOS 4 I feel like has got it much better. Keith Rogers, thank you for the gift.
Do you think it's because they started in 8th edition and that's when the game fundamentally changed as a whole?
Yeah, I think the game changed
That's
so
why
much.
his opinion is so...
But the thing is, I still don't feel like they've quite got command points right. And I thought when we saw the original core rules for 10th edition, I was like, this is better actually.
Yeah.
So a little trip down memory lane, a little bit of a history lesson for you wonderful people, especially if you've been here recently. 7th edition 40k, no command points, no such thing. No such thing as stratagems. Didn't exist. Okay. 8th edition dropped. Command points get introduced as a brand new feature. You start off with no command points, and then as you put in detachments, you gained command points.
Yeah, so every detachment gave you points. So it was a case of...
If you had a outrider, it gave you a single command point. If you had a battalion, it gave you 5. If you had...
a patrol, it was 3.
Yeah, or something like that,
2 or 3, yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. And you could basically, as you built your detachments and you filled specific slots, fast attack, heavy support, etc., you gained command points. In 8th edition, it wasn't the worst system in the world. However, it did kind of punish some certain factions who wanted to run, my Eldar, for example, who wanted to run super narrative, and I wanted to run outrider detachments and spearhead detachments and not have anything in the way of troops because I wanted everything on jet bikes or hover tanks because I was running Southampton. I kind of only ever got 5 command points.
Yeah, it kind of only really benefited low model count armies.
Yeah, and when you consider that meant that with 5 command points and 3 to 4 pages of stratagems, it meant I wasn't really able to use a load of them. Okay. Then next came 9th, and 9th changed it up again. And instead of giving you command points, you took away from a total. So everyone started with a number of command points, and depending on the detachments that you picked, you took away from that total. So it's like it cost you 3 for a spearhead instead of gaining 1, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And you started with like 12 or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. Slightly better system. However, still punished those who didn't want to run things like battalions or brigades, and still meant that if you have 3 pages of stratagems available to you, which we did have 3 pages of stratagems available to us for most codexes, sometimes even more, it still meant you couldn't use a vast array of stratagems.
No.
So here's 3 pages of stratagems, but unless you're specifically going to run a battalion or brigade, you're going to really struggle to use them.
Yeah, and more often than not, it's the same problem we kind of have now you just use 3.
Yeah.
3 over and over and over again.
Yeah, and then 10th edition came. What they told us was this, like, taking away from or building detachments around command points is gone. Doesn't matter how you build your army. It doesn't matter what kind of composition you put together on the table. You will get a command point at the start of every turn. And so we would get to a point where at the end of 5 battle rounds, you would have 10 command points. So I was like, brilliant. Everyone gets the same resource.
Yeah.
And on top of which, you're no longer going to have access to 3 to 4 pages of stratagems. You're just going to have 6, depending on the detachment that you've built. And then you have the core stratagems on top of that, which everyone has access to. So there's no gotchas there because everyone has access to grenade. Yeah. Everyone has access to tank shock unless you're Tyranids. Everyone has access to heroically intervening, etc.
Yeah.
Okay? And it sounded better. I was happy with it. But that's not true.
No.
Because if you're Space Marines, all of the versions of Captains let you use stratagems for now, 1 CP less than they were before, originally for free.
Yeah.
And if you are
Chaos
Guards and you take Lord Polar, you just gain 1 every turn. Same as you do if you take Azrael or if you take Abaddon and he does a Dark Patch, you gain 1. Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Lords let you take 1 for free. And the reason why this conversation came up between Joe and I is because on Tuesday he ran AdMech.
Yeah.
How many extra CP can you gain with AdMech?
0.
How many stratagems can you do for 1 less with AdMech?
0.
It's not
the
right,
only
is
way
it?
you gain CP back within the entire army of AdMech is if you target a Scutari unit with a specific upgrade, and then you roll dice on the 5+, you get that command point refunded.
Yeah.
So, like, when you compare that to an army like Sisters Battle, which gain command points, have a character that give you command points, you have characters that allow you to get stratagems for 1 command point less, and you have things like Acts of Faith on top.
Yeah.
You're like...
I'm going to propose, however, a singular change that I think, well, it's 2 changes rolled into 1 change that I think fixes this problem. Because I actually, I slightly disagree with Escape. I love him dearly, but I slightly disagree with him. In 10th edition, I felt like we had the potential for it to be the perfect CP system.
Yeah.
To be clear, Escape, before you worry that I'm attacking you here, personally, I'd happily see command points and stratagems out the game. I would happily get rid of them. I don't think they've really added much for me personally from 7th edition, apart from a bunch of gotcha moments and a bunch of, repeat grenade stratagem or repeat, think of another one that gets spammed a lot.
Tank shock.
Armour of Contempt, repeat Armour of Contempt, right? I don't think they've added much to the game. I think they've probably made it slightly worse in my personal opinion. That being said, I think they're not going to go away. And so the simple change for me is you get rid of every ability to gain an extra 1.
Yeah.
And you get rid of every ability to reduce the cost of 1.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah,
give a Space Marine captain a cool fucking rule that makes him a bit more of an actual hero, rather than stratagems cost 1 CP less.
Yeah, I really like the captain's ability where he gets like +3 attacks and gets devastating wounds.
Does his best day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that as an ability. I'd like to see more of that kind of thing. Because like when I look at Space Marines, I'm like, the on-foot kind of Blade Guard style captain is the best captain. It's the best character they have access to. That's not named, obviously.
Of course,
yeah. I just kind of feel like it's not built equally. Brom was complaining about the fact that he doesn't have any way of doing stratagems for cheaper, but all of his stratagems are 1 command point, and all he has to do is stand a unit on its home objective and roll a dice on like a 4+, he gets command points.
Yeah. There is a point that's been made in chat by Sir Galahad, which I absolutely agree with as well. The other problem we do have at the moment is my fix isn't a blue skies fixes everything fix. It's just a solve some of the problems fix. Because the other issue we do have is there are definitely certain factions out there who I feel like need stratagems to be more effective and more impactful.
Yeah.
And there are some that can just operate without them.
Yeah, so like I'd say Thousand Suns, Sisters, and Eldar just flat don't need command points.
Because Cabal points, Miracle Dice, and Fate Dice.
And what's mad is that all the other armies in the game gain a command point a turn by taking a specific named character. And Eldar just take an Autarch.
Yeah.
Just take...
Not even a named character.
Not even a named character. You can have 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, if he's on the table, you get a command point. I'm like, that's mad.
Yeah. I do prefer the new system to the old systems. I do prefer the fact they trickle them in mostly. I do prefer the fact that you now can't essentially build an insane 4 CP stack in the first turn and eradicate the thing that you will definitely want to eradicate.
Thank you, Rossonero, for 20 more gifted memberships. It's payday or he's day drinking.
I hope both.
Yeah.
I hope it's payday and he's day drinking.
I hope you're down the beach watching us whilst...
Why would you hope he's down the beach? I thought you hated sand.
I know, but he might really like the sand.
He says that's it for now since Joe isn't wearing his new clothes. Did you do the charity shop this morning?
No, because I've got about 3p in my bank account.
Well,
But, you know.
All right, next week then.
Next week. Both days, I'll do it.
No, we can't do both days. Right. Spoiler alert here, chat. I'm letting you all know right now. Thursday streaming is going to be cancelled.
Why?
It's my youngest's birthday. He's 7.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a barbecue.
So he's already had 6.
So you're going
Right?
we're going to have a barbecue, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
That's during the day.
So wouldn't you rather come to the barbecue than do some streaming?
I do really like Warhammer.
You don't like grilled chicken on a barbecue?
Yeah, but we could do that and then come here.
No.
Once he's full of sweets and sugar and got all of his
Leave
toys.
him with loose.
Yeah.
There you go. Your problem now.
Yeah. I remember once I used to live with a guy who had a daughter who's like 2 or 3, and she'd come and stay on the weekends. And he asked me to babysit one night. He's like, I'll be back at 10. It's like a Saturday night. I was like, cool. So I waited till 9:45, and I gave her 2 bags of sherbet. He got home, and then I went out to the pub.
Oh, you're that friend.
Yeah. He sent me a video at 2:00 in the morning of her running around running around the flat singing happy birthday to herself. It wasn't even her birthday.
Evil bastard.
I know.
But I was talking to Luce because we're doing a barbecue on Thursday for his birthday, and originally what was going to happen is going to be you, Brom, and Kyle. We're going to be streaming originally.
Yeah.
And then we were like, Thursday's barbecue is going to be from like 2:00 in the afternoon till like probably 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, right?
What are you cooking? A whole cow?
Oh, we've not come to a barbecue at my house before, have you? And so what we're doing for it is we're inviting family and close friends. So Luce was writing out the people that she wanted to invite, and it included you, and it included Brom.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen instead of the stream.
Yeah.
All right. Get a day off, Jay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Come and eat barbecue food instead.
Are we doing a Liam and Joe show though?
No.
Oh.
No streaming. I'm going to have a day off, Jay. A full one. You're allowed one too. I'm allowing it.
I'm supposed to get them by law, if anything.
And they did 280 gifted memberships last night, right? So, like, that's 100 is already one of the shows covered.
Oh.
And then 80 is like the other show covered. So if we get to like 120 on one of these, we've covered the shows for gifted memberships at least.
I know.
All right?
So I'll wear my charity shop clothes on
Tuesday, yeah.
Right.
I'm paying for the
That was
charity
a
shop
weird
clothes,
roundabout way of getting there, but you know. We got there.
But yeah, so I'm going to treat you to some barbecue food instead of Mr. J. All right?
I've got like a weird thing on my knee.
Your hand. The other thing as well is when we talk about command point systems, I've seen something. I think it was by 40k Medic in chat. Right, I want to talk about this as well. What I don't want, I need to make this very clear because I've said this a few times and people seem to still be mistaking me on this one. I do not want 40k to go, well, the AOS system looks really, really good. We're just going to copy it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my AOS and my 40k to be the same game. I don't want that to happen. I want them to be different games. So I am going to propose another way that we could deal with stratagems in 40k as well. Okay. Right? And this is where we could now manipulate the captain ability. So we could take everyone who has reduced CP by 1 and everyone who has gain a CP and replace those rules with the following, right? How about you remove command points altogether from the game,
Yeah.
but every single stratagem is one use only. And if you have a captain or a model that allows you to gain an additional CP, their rule instead changes to you can use one stratagem a second time per battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So it's a different system to AOS.
Yeah.
It means you're only going to see one tank shock, you're only going to see one grenade, you're only going to see one armor of contempt, you're only going to see one interrupt for the whole game. And there's no cost associated.
It also becomes like a weird deck mechanic then as well. Like I've got my deck of cards, and I've played that one off. That one goes.
Yeah, essentially, it's almost like a Magic deck, right? I've played that, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, that's the sort of thing I think I would like to see. I feel like that would be really cool as a different mechanic to Age of Sigmar, interesting enough to keep it relevant and still be using stratagems. Get rid of this whole CP nonsense stuff. I thought that would be good. I'd be into that. Yeah,
I like it, and yeah, I like it. I just think like stratagems are like it's just not equal. Like if you look at the Sisters Codex, right, which was written by someone who really fucking loves Sisters of Battle, so everything in that book is really, really good. All those stratagems are an auto take, and then you look at the GC the Cult book or the Admech book, and you're like, these are just kind of hard. They're like a lot of the time they're kind of like, well, this other book's already got this stratagem, so we'll take it, but we'll make it slightly different. Like the Space Marine book, and it's got access to a stratagem which gives you +1 to wound. The Chaos book's got access to a stratagem, it's got +1 to wound. Admech, you get +1 to wound, but only if you target a unit that's not within 6 inches of any other unit.
yeah.
It's like, it's just never gonna fucking come up, really, unless it's the last unit on the table.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times as well, where you've got two books that have essentially the same stratagems, but one has a whole load of hoops to jump through, and one just flat doesn't.
Yeah,
one's just flat better.
And they're the same points to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's like the problem is with a lot of times is that like I don't think that the discard a card should cost a command point.
It should cost a command point.
It shouldn't cost a command point to ditch a card.
To do the once per battle new orders.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think new orders should be once per battle, but it should be free.
But in my new system, it would all be free once per battle.
It would
anyway.
all be free, yeah. Because I just feel like, when I was running the Admech, or if you're running Orcs, you go, I don't really want to discard. I don't want to discard this one because I've got no command points to do it with.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got like a Guard player or a Tyranid player who's got like CP for days.
Yeah.
Like with Guard or Space Marines or Tyranids, you can literally go all of turn 1 without spending any stratagems. So when you go into turn 2, if you go first as a Tyranid player, first turn of battle round 2, you've got 5 command points.
If you've got Swarmlord.
If you've got Swarmlord on the table. And you're going to have Swarmlord because you have to take him because he's incredible. It's like Guard always taking Lord Solar.
Yeah.
It's just, I kind of feel like...
I mean, I'd argue Lord Solar is more of an auto take than the Swarmlord.
Yeah.
Because he's such a force multiplier. But the Swarmlord gaining that CP, I feel like almost every character in a book that says gain a CP is close to auto take. Yeah. Unless your stratagems are dog shit. And here's the only problem with my system is that not all faction stratagems are created equally.
No.
This is another problem I have. This is where there is an argument to say get rid of stratagems altogether. The thing is, I'm a big fan of any mechanic. So I don't like stratagems as they currently are or their current iteration, but I am a big fan of any mechanic that allows interaction in your opponent's turn. What AOS has done very, very nicely is specified when that exactly happens.
Yeah.
So as we know when we went and played that game with Games Workshop, I'm doing this, would you like to do anything? Because there's a specific moment where you're like, now I play my command ability as it is in Age of Sigmar rather than a stratagem. And I think that's slightly better. Like in 40k, I find often at events specifically, I don't know if you found this, but at events specifically, people like almost rush through parts of a turn in the hope that you don't say, Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like, if I get through this quickly, you can't do it now because of how it works. Or if I just move very quickly, you can't do the stratagem because we've passed that point now. And because stratagems can be such a gotcha moment at times.
Yeah. Well, there's also the opposite where your opponent doesn't want you to overwatch a unit. So they move one unit. Do you want to overwatch?
Yeah.
And then they move another one. Do you want to overwatch? Do you want to move another one? Do you want to overwatch?
Yeah.
Try to get it out of you.
And the hope that you say yes, and then the next move that they want is the one they didn't want to get overwatched. Yeah, yeah, that happens a fair amount.
So yeah,
If they can't balance the game, stratagems should go. The worse they are at balancing the game, the less mechanics they should have. Well, this is the other thing, isn't it? One of the reasons why I'm not personally a fan of stratagems, despite the fact that I do like interactivity in my opponent's turn, is because 40k is a multifaceted system. It's harder to balance than AOS already because there is a significantly higher, what's the word, not influence, there's a significantly higher impetus put on shooting because it's a 41st millennium and everyone's got big, powerful guns and lasers, right?
Yeah.
So it's already not just balancing melee armies fighting each other with a couple of bows chucked in. You're literally balancing a shooting phase versus a melee phase sometimes. World Eaters versus Tau, for example.
Yeah.
Right, that's already hard to balance. Then you bring in enhancements. You bring in an ability on every single data sheet. That makes it significantly more difficult to balance straight away.
Yeah.
Then you add in all of the core stratagems, which in themselves are inherently unbalanced based on the army you're playing. How often are you going to make any use of grenades or tank shock whilst playing Tyranids?
Well, no time.
Well, you're not, are you? Because you don't have the ability to do that.
No.
I feel like tank shock should perhaps have been called crushing impact.
Yeah.
And then it can be used on monsters over a wounds characteristic of 10 and tanks, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that a Carnifex can't do it when a rhino can.
Exactly.
Or a sentinel can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like the tank shock stratagem should be changed to crushing impact. It should still be 1 CP, and it should be any monster or vehicle with a wounds characteristic of 10 or more.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Then you can't tank shock with sentinels.
Yeah, and you can't tank shock with crisis suits.
But here's the thing, right? Tell me a single, right, there's 208 people in chat. How many of you think that was a bad change? How many of you put a 1 in chat if you think that's a good change, put a 2 in chat if you think it's a bad change. Because I would almost put my money on, unless someone's trying to be a funny fucker, no one's putting a 2 in. So Carnifexes can do it, anything with a wounds characteristic of 10 or more can do it. Well, that makes perfect sense. Why would a Sentinel be able to tank shock?
Yeah.
We call it crushing impact. That just makes sense as a change.
Yeah, but it means things like demon princes can do it, and greater demons can do it, and stuff like that. The demon range has no access to it apart from the soul crushers. Is it soul crusher?
Blood crushers.
No, the
soul grinder.
Soul grinder. That's the one. That's the only thing in the demon codex that can do it. And you think
yes, it is actually. Yeah.
The great unclean one should be able to tank shock because it's just a giant ball of
What
fat.
about giant chariots?
Yeah.
Running into you.
Yeah.
0 F's given.
Wow. Wow, Kai. So yeah. But it's just I just find that I almost wish that there were less army specific stratagems and more universal.
But this is where, someone's Grumper just said if a Paragon war suit can tank shock, a Carnifex should. I agree. And this is where sometimes their wording and the way that they differentiate between what can and what can't do things is often, I find, very strange.
Yeah.
And I feel like this often leans into a competitive edition rather than a narrative edition of the game.
Yeah.
And so a Carnifex not being able to essentially tank shock, I feel like goes against narrative.
Yeah.
But then I'll say, I miss old tank shock.
Well, I think that's the reason why things like Tyranids, like Demons, stuff like that, armies that don't have units with the grenade keyword and the vehicle keyword don't do as well as all the other armies. Because if you look at Guard, for instance, in Space Marines, an abundance of grenade and vehicle units, right? So their mortal wound output is consistently higher than everyone else's.
I find it hilarious. Marvin, I love you, dude. They shouldn't get tank shock because they have melee weapons usually as well as shooting also. His favourite army is Imperial Knights. I think you've just murdered your own argument there.
Yeah.
Because Imperial Knights can tank shock, as can Dreadnoughts. I'm not entirely sure the argument stands up when you play with Knight Lancers.
Yeah, but it's also if you look at AOS, they've got a couple universal strats, no real army strats, and it's all character abilities.
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah, but again, I don't want AOS with sci-fi. I don't want that. I want them to be different games.
Oh, no, that's what I mean. But if you think the grenade strat, surely that should be locked to specific units.
chariots used to have impact hits. They did. That was old Warhammer though. That wasn't 40k.
Yeah, the Brutalis Dreadnought can run in, do mortal wounds on the charge, and then tank shock.
Yeah.
So it has 2 lots of mortal wound output.
Yeah.
Maybe I just run 3 to Hellstorm. And then everything else is just grenade units.
I agree with you. I don't think Knights should have tank shock. Okay, good. I'm glad. I was worried then for a moment, Jake. I thought you were like,
The Lancer,
no one else can have tank shock
the
apart from my
Lancer can do
knight.
it for free.
It's 1 CP less.
So for free. It was weird how they were like, oh, it costs 1 CP less, which is great. But there's so many books where all the stratagems are.
The hilarious thing about the
1
Lancers
CP,
doing it for free as well is it specifically calls out the tank shock stratagem, so they can still do it twice in a turn.
Yeah.
Lol.
Double Lancer.
Double Lancer.
One does it.
But then again, it's not so bad now because it's only against their toughness of 12 or 13 rather than their strength of 20. So it's not quite so bad anymore.
Yeah, but you're only max 6 though, aren't you?
You are max 6, yeah, but if you're rolling 20 dice instead of 12 dice, Joe, you've got more chance of maxing that 6.
That is science.
That is maths, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Tank shock changed to crushing impact, like you said, but if you have a close combat weapon, you are excluded, fixes things, gives nids with guns the same ability. Yeah, like a Tyrannofex charging into...
Yeah, but he's got arms, doesn't he?
He has, yeah.
Right, there are some small holes in this decision that you've made.
Me?
Harbin, that you've agreed with.
Oh, I didn't agree with that, I just read it out.
Every unit in the game's got a close combat weapon.
Yeah, true.
So that wouldn't work.
I was trying to think then if there was even that hasn't, like even a drop pod.
Yeah.
A drop pod has a close combat weapon.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think it's got... No, it doesn't. It's the only unit in the game that doesn't have a close combat profile. Because it's immobile.
Terrain?
Terrain.
So we're finding holes in Joe's logic now.
The Tyrannocyte's got a close combat one.
Is it? The Tyranid drop pod?
Yeah, because it's got wibbly arms.
Wibbly.
Yeah. And I think it moves. It comes in and just goes...
All this being said, one thing I do want to touch on as well during the stream, I was on a meeting yesterday with Adrian from Titans. He said hello, by the way. And I was talking to him about 10th edition because we were talking about new AOS. And he was like, I really want to play new AOS. I'm really excited to play big map, like 2,000 point AOS now. I was like, yeah, me too. Joe and I get really excited about playing AOS as well. And then we moved on to talking about the balanced data set that came out last week. Now, I know that during the stream, there was a significant amount of shouting and ranting that went on because of how many changes they're having to do so early into an edition. And I know that hasn't changed. I actually think as a tabletop game at the moment, dare I say this, because it won't take long before I start getting called a shill again, 40k is in a really good place right now, Joe.
Oh, 100%. I said it. I tend to play the good cop on the channel.
You absolutely do, yeah.
Because it's probably not great if we both call Games Workshop cunts.
Because you're a virgin, that's why.
That is. I actually think this is my best version of 10th edition.
Agree.
Right? I don't think... It's not my favourite version of the game, but it is probably the most fun version of the game that we've had. There are things that I miss from the game, actually weird out of 8th and 9th edition, one of them being heroic intervention and characters being... So I was a massive advocate for characters being in units now. But because that's like old Warhammer Joe that really likes that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I loved about 9th edition, right, and a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it because it was a very specific play style that people had to learn to deal with, and that's heroically intervening characters. Like having lurking captains or the Judicas. The Judica was my favourite thing. That's like my favourite list I had was the one I took to Warhammer Fest, where I had three Judicias that would lurk behind Blade Guard. So if moment someone would try and charge me, you could like jump out and be like, aha, you fight last now, and then I clobber the shit out of them. Or like you'd set yourself up for a charge with one unit so they watch, and then send him in to tag some people. And I found that was a great nuance for combat armies, that they had like these few little tricks that they could play with, and that's kind of just gone now because now heroic intervention is a stratagem that can only be played into a unit that's charged. That's what's taken a lot of the bite out of combat stuff, I think they lost a lot of tricks.
I miss old heroic intervention, and I miss characters being. I very much miss the ability to kind of play Hero Hammer with characters.
Yeah.
I've always said this. I like Hero Hammer. I like any army that gives me more opportunity to play Hero Hammer.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer that style of play, especially when it comes to melee, Hero Hammer and melee as well, because that's the things that I really, really like. And I think that there's a bit of. I think the 40k is now in the best place it's been in 10th edition. If you're able to keep up with the updates, which isn't easy, to be fair. So if you are able to keep up with the updates and you are a person who plays the latest version of the game, I think it's in the best place it's been since 10th edition. That doesn't mean to say I think it was better than the end of 9th or better than 8th or better than 7th. I just think it's in the best place it's been right now. That being said, although I think it is in the best place it's been, I still believe it is lacking a significant amount of narrative flavour. And what's interesting is I kind of originally felt like things like stratagems and command points were built into the game to add narrative flavour, but it just doesn't really.
That comes from game-wise, that comes from a lack of command points.
Yeah, well,
right? Because if you think about command point allocation, I know you can be like, right? Things like grenade, things like hammer of wraths, tank shock, things like interrupt and a command point reroll. Those are essential things for the game to run smoothly to survive.
Agree.
Right? Your army-specific ones is where your flavour comes from.
Supposedly.
All right, where you've got the ability to advance and charge with a unit, or you get +1 to wound, or you get extra sustained. You go from sustained 1 to sustained 2 because you're really angry that phase, right? That's where the flavour comes in from making units do what they're supposed to do, but more. But you can't do it because you haven't got any command points to spend.
Because you're spending them on the essentials.
Because you're spending them on the essentials.
Right, okay.
It's kind of like having a job with money. Having the bills you got to pay and then expendable income.
I think, I'm inclined to agree when some of them are so strong. I mean, tank shock's now obviously been toned down.
Yeah.
Grenades has been changed slightly.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons is because people go, well, everyone's just using tank shock all the time.
But I think that's the reason why Tyranids are my favourite army to play with.
You don't have those two stratagems.
Because I don't have access to essential stratagems that I'm using in other armies.
So the temptation's gone.
So the temptation's gone, so I can now use...
Feel no pain every turn.
Feel no pain 5+ every turn. But if you're running the Vanguard Onslaught Detachment, you don't have a feel no pain stratagem. Yeah. So you're going to use stratagems, which is like... It's like skulk away into the shadows, or
the other thing as well is,
or go back into reserves.
I feel like, and this is going to forever be an inherent problem as long as stratagems exist across 20+ factions, is that not all stratagems are created equally. So you look at your Tyranid book when you've got a 5 feel no pain stratagem, and as you've arguably rightly said, you're just going to play 5 feel no pain every turn.
Yeah,
of course you are, because it's just better than everything else that's in that book. And I remember, for me as a Chaos player, being hella excited in 8th edition when stratagems first dropped, and the one that we had access to was the Chaos Boon table.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool... What do you mean I could spend 1 CP, and if I rolled boxcars, I'd turn into a demon prince?
Yeah, but let's be honest, that wasn't the one you were using all the time, though, was it?
It was
Endless Cacophony every fucking turn.
It wasn't.
Endless Cacophony allowed a Celeste unit to shoot twice.
Yeah, I played World Eaters, Joe. I didn't have Celeste units.
Oh, sucks to be you.
So I wasn't using it.
Oh, you did it every turn.
Of course
the thing
I
is,
did.
but the problem is with like command point allocation is that even with Tyranids, which I really love playing, is that you've got the Swarm Lord,
Old Swarm
gives you 2 command points, and you've got your command, and then in your opponent's turn you gain a command point. So you've got 3 command points every turn. The downside to that is you've got 1 CP for 5 up feel no pain, 2 CP for interrupt. So your allocation is already spent.
Yep.
So you take a Hive Tyrant in your army, which allows you to do a second feel no pain.
Yeah.
So even with 4 command points, you're doing feel no pain twice and then interrupt.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, we've prattled on for an hour about this. I'm really keen to know what you guys think about it. If you want to make sure we 100% definitely, without any doubt, talk about your specific point reference to command points, or even the wider 40k, the current state it's in, things you do and don't like, make sure you stick them on super chats like the people you see on screen. If you just hit the little $sign, type in what you want, select your value and hit go, it'll come up in a big colourful postcard like what we're seeing on the screen right now. And then in a minute, any minute, I'm going to start getting Joe to read through them and we'll talk about your point as part of the show. It's what we do. Sometimes I feel like some people don't work out or don't realise how super chats work on the show. We like to, for at least half an hour, talk about our point, then we'll jump in there. We are on currently 49 gifted memberships. Is that 40? Does it say 49? I think it says 49. My right eye's fucked, so I can't really see distance properly. 49 gifted memberships. So one more for 50, 51 more for the target. And there are plenty of grey names in chat that are screaming for your members all in their face.
Yeah.
Nice.
We didn't say thank you earlier, but Keith Rogers, thank you for the 1 gifted membership. Thank you, Tribune, for becoming a Skulls. When I first saw that come up, I was like, we've got a tier level called Tribune? No, that's his name. Thank you.
Well,
thank you, Evan Tominello, for the 1 gifted membership. Thank you, Brandon Legacy. He says, sounds like Liam's barbecues like an American. Cheers.
It is normally
That's
more...
his 20th super chat.
It's normally more meat than a group of men can handle.
Even...
And Luce often laughs because I have to buy the 1 bag of salad when I'm at Morrison's buying the food to just look like I've made an effort with green stuff.
Yeah.
But... And as Brom comes, his missus is a vegetarian, so there's some lettuce there.
Why does he bring her?
If you want to... There's some lettuce there if you want to eat like a rabbit.
Yeah.
And then meat.
Yeah, I find it really weird when people come to a barbecue and they're like, why is there no vegetarian option? It's like, I'm cooking meat.
Brom's missus brings her own vegetarian burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they cook like normal burgers though?
Similar in my experience.
Yeah.
Although what normally happens is I normally grill the main burgers first, and once all the main burgers are grilled, I'm like, and it's just covered in animal fat, I'm like, do you want me to clean it or just stick it straight on? She's like, just stick it fucking straight on. I'm like, right answer, bang. On it goes.
Yeah.
I'd often feel like she's doing it to be easy for me, and then I think maybe it's just because that way they've got some fucking flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a half mumbled Liam, thanks, and Joe, thanks. No, thank you, Keith. You're a legend. We love you.
Thank you, Keith.
You are a legend. You beautiful human.
Sorry, because you kind of got forgotten about it, and then I was like, oh, we'll go back.
Yeah, I didn't forget.
That's fine. We love you, Keith. We love everyone. But sometimes we're so distracted by things in our brain.
We love most people.
We love most.
If you gift 1, we love you a bit.
We just do it.
If you're already a member, we love you a bit more. If you gift 5, we love you a bit more again.
Is it rude to show the soles of your feet or something?
I don't think so.
Soles of your shoes.
If you gift 10, love you a bit more, etc.
Some people don't like it, do they?
My barbecue's fancy as well.
Fancy.
I had to get a new one.
Yeah?
Because my old one rusted through because it fucking had it for so long because barbecues aren't cheap. But I found this fucking cracking deal. It was lots of money off. And it's a barbecue with a gas bottle that you can then convert into one that you can cook with coal. So you can do both. So on Thursday, I shall be cooking with coal. Yeah. Just fucking cooking with coal.
Isn't that what barbecue is?
No, because you can have gas barbecues, can't you?
Yeah, I don't understand that though. Why don't you just use your oven at that point?
Because it's still better cooking outside in the sunshine like a man just flicking your meat with tongs.
Yeah,
and cooking.
But surely you just cook it inside, sit outside.
No, that's not the same. You are a fucking barbecue amateur, aren't you?
I just don't really care about them. It's not something I've been really passionate about in my life.
How have we known each other?
I worked in kitchens.
How have we known this long? Each other for
from
this
like
long?
13 to like 25. I've just worked in kitchens like my entire life, and I just associate all cooking with work.
I don't understand how we've been friends for this long, and I'm now discovering that you're not a person who's just mad for barbecues.
I worked at Wetherspoons for 4 years, right?
10% less of a man.
The only food I ate outside of Wetherspoons was pizza. Because it's literally just open oven, put it in. I couldn't be bothered to cook anything else. I hated it.
Had some girlfriends like that.
Yeah?
Just open up and put it in.
No hock too.
No hock too. No.
Right. Right. Thank you, Electman. So you want 40k to do what AOS 4 confirmed in April. Also, how would you give players a way to interact on opponent's turn if all strats are gone?
I feel like we kind of answered that one. I don't necessarily, so I don't want strats. How I would then get players engaging in other players. So if in my perfect world, I'd get rid of stratagems, and then the way that I'd have players interacting with opponents is abilities on data sheets. So I would have no stratagems at all, no CP cost. And so a captain leading a unit might allow you to heroically intervene, or if, because I actually don't want characters in units, a captain can pick a unit within 6 inches. A Space Marine captain can pick a Space Marine unit within 6 inches of himself, and that unit can heroically intervene. Right? No CP cost. You just do it because that's an ability he has. So you can pick the aggressors next to him. You can pick himself, so Space Marine unit within 6 inches, and you can heroically intervene. Right? If you've got 3 captains, guess what? You can do it 3 times because you've got 3 captains. It gives you the ability. I would get rid of stratagems in the command point system altogether, and I just put the interactive in your opponent's stuff on your data sheet.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Simple as that. Like Blood Surge. Okay, so Berserkers have this already. Okay, Blood Surge. Weirdly, other detachments are now getting this as a command point thing, but Berserkers have this.
Carnifexes have it too.
When you finish making your shooting attacks against a Khorne Berserker unit, you can Blood Surge for D6. It's something that happens in your opponent's turn, and it's interactive. I don't think you need command points for that to happen. So if we don't go down the route of going every command point's one use only, or etc., I would actually get rid of them and just build the ability to interact in your opponent's turn into certain data sheets.
Yeah.
That's what I personally would do. There you go. Thanks for the donor. You're a hero. And I say that knowing that there's a couple more from him coming as well.
Stefan, Weatherstones is technically food. All the meat is fresh meat from English farmers.
Is it?
It is. It's actual meat.
Is it?
Like the steaks and the bacon and sausages.
It's not the lowest grade of meat though. So what's his name can save all his fucking money? The dick that owns it.
JD Weatherspoon.
That's not who owns it, is it?
I-
Is it Mike Ashley that owns Weatherspoons? Is that him?
I don't
Is that his name?
No one likes him anyway.
He's a fucking bellend.
He was the one that fired all of the staff during COVID, so you
Yeah.
didn't have to pay him.
Yeah.
And they just kind of expected
Despite
them
the fact
to
he
come
didn't have to pay them because furlough.
back.
You only had to pay them 20%.
But you still had to pay tax though, didn't you? On furlough.
I don't know.
So-
I was safety critical worker, so or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I think the
so.
only people that kept their jobs were pub managers that lived on site.
I was allowed to keep working in a rail depot that supplied passenger trains for all the people that weren't allowed to leave their houses.
I worked in a toy shop.
Lockdown in the UK, by the way, Jack, was a bit of a farce. Lockdown wasn't really a lockdown.
Yeah, I spent most of my lockdown. I knew that lockdown was coming because my bosses were saying that like lockdown's coming, so I ordered 9 Talos. Right,
of course he did.
because I was playing Drakari.
That doesn't sound very Joe.
I ordered 9 Talos and a bunch of and then I dug out all of my Drakari stuff that I hadn't painted, and then I just spent like 3 weeks painting Drakari. But it was mad because like the co-op, which was literally like 10 steps from my house at the time, was always full.
Tim Martin, that's the one, Chris, thank you, yeah.
It was always full of people all the time.
Yeah. No one did lockdown properly in this country.
My favourite people were the people that didn't really understand it. So there'd be like people, there was like people go into the shops in like a beekeeper's outfit, or they'd have like just a bag on their head.
My favourite was that my staff, like where I worked, with what the business told everybody was you didn't have to provide any proof of having COVID to be off work, but you had to isolate for 2 weeks, right? So if you got COVID, obviously you couldn't go into the doctors and get tested at the time. This is early on before they had all the test centres and stuff. You couldn't go into the doctors and get tested, so you had to just stay at home and isolate for 2 weeks. And my business was like, you don't come in to the work to prove that you're ill, you just stay home for 2 weeks. So my staff, I swear they were doing this out in like the fucking smoking area, basically took, right, whose turn it is to have 2 weeks off?
Yeah.
It's just rotated around. And I reckon at one point, throughout the fucking first stage of lockdown, every single one of my staff had 2 weeks off for free, because they could. Bastards.
My greatest thing about lockdown is people learn that it's okay to not want to be around other people.
Yeah.
You know? They're like, Now it's acceptable to stay home all the time.
I spend less time now in groups of people than I did before.
Yeah.
Because I discovered I really just don't like people very much. People like you, Joe. People like you are my favourite people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't like those people.
No.
Yeah.
I like it. Nice. Although also everyone learned how to cook as well.
Oh, I didn't.
Cook stuff. Everyone got into a really weird hobby. My mum got really into glass cutting.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't think we started anything new or weird in lockdown. Lie, home educating, I guess, is a new weird thing that we do.
I started talking to my partner.
What to be clear, right? This what Jay means is when they got together, it doesn't mean that he'd known her for years before and just never spoke to her.
Potato.
Yeah. I need to be clear. It wasn't that Jay. She was just fucking completely, absolutely ignored by Jay for 2 years before. And then, well, no one else to talk to now.
Yeah. I love my partner dearly, but the best time for me during the week is when she's not home. She goes to work early in the morning, and I get up, and then I just start painting. It's so quiet in the house and wonderful. And I get to do all my stuff, and then people start filtering back into my house later on in the day, and it's just noise. And I'm like, I was really enjoying my stories.
I did. I
audiobook.
definitely also saw some weird shit during COVID though.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that they always used to tell you about plastic bags from supermarkets?
Don't put them on your head?
Don't put them on your head. And there was a guy in Morrison's with a literal Tesco's carry bag over his head, taped around his neck, and I was like, that's a fucking bold move. Yeah, there's some weird people out there.
Or like people no mask on but had marigolds on.
Do you know those old, those big water bottles you get on the water machines? There was a guy that came in with that cut off on his head. It's some fucking great stuff, mate.
Yeah, but then like near the end of lockdown, they just had those masks on, didn't they? Which kind of stopped here.
Yeah.
And it's just literally just a visor. It's like a spit guard at like Subway.
As per the South Park, they just wore a mask that covered their chin only.
Yeah.
Or just a no. Why doesn't it cover your nose? I need to be able to breathe. I was like, well, I mean...
I'm not surprised I got COVID and nearly died. Because I was just like, I hated the mask. At one point, I was like, I would rather just get COVID.
I hated wearing one, but wore one.
Yeah.
What I hated about... happens sometimes on the channel, by the way, if you're new here. We go on wild tangents. What I hated the most about the whole mask thing was there was absolutely no minimum requirement or regulation. So realistically, I think to stop COVID, you needed to have an FP2 graded mask at least. And there was people with literally anything over their face that probably didn't stop any particles whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like really thin. It was like, at this point, you literally might as well not be wearing one.
Yeah, I remember I worked in a small studio, which was the size of a shoebox with boxy, right? If we sat next to each other, we had to have a face mask on. Yeah. But we just had our desks on opposite sides of the room. Right, more than 2 meters away. So we just took our masks off, despite the fact that there was no windows in our room. It was just a box with a fucking door on it. And I'm like, so we've been sharing the same air for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
But we know, and then one of the worst things about COVID was that if you were working alone and someone walked in the room, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to find my mask now. And then they'll just stand there like that. Hello, how are you? And it's like, why have you walked into my room? Or they'd stand outside the door and talk into the room.
Yeah.
Like an invisible barrier.
Yeah. FYI chat as well, we don't talk politics in chat because it's very polarising for people in general.
Yeah.
So I see people talking about it. If you can have adult conversations, great. I encourage adult conversations about everything political. That being said, I often find conversations about all things political don't stay adult for very long.
No.
People get very passionate, people end up getting quite rude, and so we just try and avoid it because everyone has their own opinions, and opinions are perfectly valid because they're opinions. We just try and avoid the chat.
Is that opinions are like arseholes? Everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one, and not everyone wants to see everyone else's.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need to remember that last part, right? Opinions are like arseholes, everyone's got one. Everyone remembers that part of the phrase. Everyone forgets the fact that you don't necessarily need to show yours to everybody else.
Yeah. Or put yours on everyone else's.
He says, as a person who goes on YouTube talking about something like Warhammer.
Thank you, Kazarian. He says, as I said on Tuesday, and Joe made me sound like I was being sweaty and meta.
Yeah.
Which he is.
He is, yeah.
He is.
Yeah,
Hero Hammer may be my way forward in AOS. Far more fun than buffing hordes.
I think it depends, right? So I'm making the Cruel Boy Spearhead, okay? And I like the idea of buffing hordes of orcs when you consider things like Lord of the Rings type narrative, for example.
Yeah.
For Stormcast, I wouldn't want to be buffing hordes. And I think there's a place for both. Although there is definitely not a place for 140 orcs versus 125 admech. There's no place for that. Again.
I don't think that'll happen again.
I don't think it'll happen again.
Yeah. I knew before that game, I was sat there, I was like, do I run guard or do I run admech? And part of me I had my phone up and I had 3 Lehman Russes and 3 Lehman Russ Punishers on the table. And I was like, how can I make this game go real quickly? And then I was like, no, we'll do admech because I said admech. But yeah, I don't think Horde versus Horde is going to work. I think once we get more stuff into the admech where you can reduce some of the Horde aspect of it.
Yeah.
It'll be much better. But we are very limited. Like the only thing that wasn't on the table on Tuesday that we owned for admech was 9 horses and 3 characters.
Yeah.
That was it. So I do need to add more.
They have got cheap.
Yeah. I think that they have to be cheap because they're not as good as they kind of should be.
Yeah.
I think the Sakarans are my favourite unit in that army. The Ruststalkers and the Infiltrators. I feel like if you increase their save from a 4 up to a 3 up, right? Because they're toughness 4 already with 2 wounds. If you increase them to like a 3 up save and you made them base weapon skill 3, I think you can then bump their points up a bit more.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can reduce the amount of models you have on the table. Skitarii warriors probably could go to toughness 4 with 1 wound, I think, and then you're in a good place then.
I think you're right. I think little tweaks allow you to bring the points up, but not massively change how they perform.
Yeah,
would be. I don't like. That being said, hordes of Skitarii are kind of narrative.
Yeah, but then you've got to think, right? A Skitarii has the same save, realistically, it has the same profile as a guardsman. Despite the fact that the only thing that's not metal is his torso, but that's only because his torso, despite being all fleshy on the outside, it's got a lot of metal bits on the inside. So I think he should be toughness 4, because then because of the
bionics,
essentially. Because of the bionics, yeah.
The flesh is weak.
Still have the weak save, because it's easy to damage them, but make it harder to actually hurt them in the first place.
Yeah,
I think would help them a lot.
Do you know what I need to do, Joe? I need to have a wee actually.
Oh,
because I drank my 2 litres of water today.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then when I get back, we'll have the extra 44 memberships, and then we'll be at 100, and you can be like, it was Melium.
I'll do Elecman strat. You
can be like, it's all Melium.
Yeah,
that's what you can say.
Yeah, go now.
And then you can actually sit there and be like, I bring the numbers.
I'm going to sit here and see how many of these people want to pay towards me getting more turn-ins.
And then you can be like, now can we talk about that pay rise? And then I could be like, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, so you've ruined it now, I'm not going to.
Well, no, you still want to be the person that brings numbers, don't you?
Yeah, but it's not me benefiting from it then, is it?
Yeah. It is.
No one give any money to Liam whilst he's the toy. If he's not on camera, he's not worth the money.
It is you benefiting, because I buy you toys.
That is true. And then he just complains about him. It's useless. So, thank you, Elec Man. He says, I'm not sure I understand your argument. If you want faction-specific strats gone for more universals, but also don't want what AOS has, don't those ideas clash? AOS has exactly what you asked for. That is true. But the thing is, though, we don't want both games to be the same, because then they're the same. They're not exciting. There's no, the only difference then is the models, isn't it, really? I think if you go for different rule sets in both of them, then there would be a draw for each of them. I really want Hero Hammer in 40k. I really want faction-specific stuff in 40k. But I want that faction-specific stuff to be more accessible. Like I said earlier, with the stratagems, you spend all your stratagems on universal stuff, so your army doesn't really sing outside of what the units do specifically, and quite often what units do specifically is quite just basic. Like my unit fights, your unit fights are the same but different. Whereas if you go my unit fights, but I've got a stratagem that makes them really angry, and my army that's normally really resilient is now more resilient because of their stratagem, I think that's where your narrative kind of comes in, basically. Do it. All right? Thank you, Ian Inman. Or Inman. Or Ian as in a man. Why not both? Epic hero equals hero hammer. Not joining units, just go and be more epic hero. Normal characters can join units and buff them. Well, that's what you want, really, isn't it? Like you want your apothecaries and your priests and stuff in units, but then you want your captains running off beating the shit out of stuff.
But why do you want your apothecary in the unit? Because if you're an apothecary, right, let's go narrative for a minute. It's our favourite thing, is narrative representation, right? If you go narrative on a game, and you have a Space Marine apothecary, and he's joined, let's say, a unit of intercessors, okay? And next to the unit of intercessors is a unit of hellblasters, and one of the hellblasters dies. Is that apothecary, narratively speaking, and be like, don't care about his gene seed, I'm only here for these 10 intercessors? Or is he going to go and recover that gene seed as well? So I don't feel like there's any situation where characters only impacting a unit that they're in narratively really makes sense.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really screws over characters in general is how inconsistent lone op is for characters. Right? If you've got on the table the Lionel Johnson, right?
Lionel Richie Johnson.
Richie Johnson. He stood in the middle of the table. There's not a building within 20 inches all around him. He's like a town square, right? He has one Deathwing Terminator stood next to him. You cannot shoot him until that Deathwing Terminator is dead, right? Gabriel Seth is stood and he is surrounded by 147,000 intercessors in the same place, but he's not in the squad.
He's not joined any of those units.
He's not joined any of those units. You can shoot him with a basilisk and hit him on 2s.
Yep.
Right? Obviously, the basilisk has to have line of sight, but it can hit him on 2s and re-roll 1s because there's a sentinel nearby. Right? Despite the fact that the presence bodies is so dense, you couldn't throw a brick. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like characters, if they're not in a unit, should still get the lone op ability if they're within 3.
Ariane says the 8th head and 9th head aura should come back then. No, I don't want those auras back because I don't want to go back to a place where everything is surrounding gullymans as everything gets reroll hits and wounds. I feel like...
Yeah, but the characters in the units don't confer the rerolls anymore.
No, granted.
Apart from Abaddon.
But aura spam was a thing that existed.
Yeah.
I feel like characters should basically all have lone up. No one should join a unit. Their abilities should impact themselves, and you pick a friendly unit within 6 inches.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get that buff.
So, for example, if we take, let me see. If we take a Master of Executions in World Eaters, right?
Yeah.
So he has fights first because he's a Master of Executions, and he can pick a unit within 6 inches. That unit over there today, I'm going to pick that 8-man unit, and they get fights first.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, not that unit there anymore because they're now dead. So guess what? I'm not suddenly useless as a Master of Executions.
Yeah.
Now those Berserkers over there get fights first.
Yeah.
But you pick one unit. You don't get an aura, you pick one unit within 6.
Yeah. In the command phase, pick a unit.
I think it's...
Yeah, because you got like the Hive...
Joe, should we write our own version of 10th edition 40k?
You probably should. You think the Hive Tyrant, for Tyranids, right, he can't join a unit apart from Tyrant Guard. Right? If he's on feet. If he's got feet, he's got Tyrant Guard, right? It's only unit he can join. His ability is pick a unit within 12 and they get to do a stratagem for zeros or -1 CP. Right? The same goes for Lady Cartman.
Yeah.
Right? What's her name?
Ursula Creed.
Ursula Creed. Pick a unit within 12, they get... Why is it limited to those two? A captain only affect... by the rules of literally every other character in the game that has that ability, the Hive Tyrant should only be able to affect his Tyrant Guard, and Lady Cartman should only be able to affect the unit that she's joined.
Do we reckon? Do we reckon we could legitimately take the 10th edition rule set and improve it and make it better and make our own rule set?
Yeah.
I like Keith's comment. Is amazing, by the way. Speaking of heroes, John McCardle, 20 gifted memberships.
Bloody John.
That puts us on 76.
Yes.
34 away, chat. No, that's a lie. 24 away, chat.
Yeah.
24 away.
Thank you, John.
You fucking legend, John.
Have you had an update for more Alpha Legion for Joe?
Thank you, John. Don't listen to him. Thank you, John. You're a fucking hero.
You
We
are a
love
hero.
you very, very dearly.
Yeah.
You unbelievable man.
If you want to get all of your models sent to us.
Everything all the time.
Everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He showed me a picture of his big piece earlier.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah?
His Reaver Titan.
Oh. That
Yeah.
wasn't what I thought you were going to be saying.
He was just like, click. Look at this.
Yeah.
Meat.
Look at my big piece.
Yeah. Get that in you. Thank you, Richard C, for the 1 gifted membership. Thank you, Sven Holio, for your 1 gifted membership. Thank you, Simon Edwards, for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Vlad Volcasting, for 5 gifted memberships.
That's 81.
81.
19
Thank you,
to
Elec
go.
Man again. He's on a roll today.
He is.
My thoughts are this: each faction gets 1 unique strat, more universals that all armies access equally, e.g., excluding Necrons have grenades, and detachment strats are gone. You get a static rule and enhancements. I don't know. I feel that's too limiting.
I miss the old days of building your own custom character.
Yeah.
And I've got all the weapon options in the world, and they all cost individual points, so I have to be careful whether I give them a thunder hammer and this and blah blah blah. And then actually I can give them like chaos characters. You could take a sigil of corruption and give them a slightly better invulnerable save and stuff like that. And then I pick a warlord trait, which makes him probably slightly better again. And then I pick a relic, which gives it I miss that.
Do you remember
really
when I had Abaddon table and then Baby Abaddon, the Terminator Lord
And Baby Don, yeah.
Baby Don, who'd literally just go around murdering knights and units because his abilities were so great. Or like you had
You're right there.
the succubus. Yeah, I choked on my own spit.
Ooh.
You had like the succubus that would go around murdering entire units of infantry with dev wounds with her whips. I think Elec Man.
Supposed to be example, Joe, not excluding. Joe and Brom's ability to read strikes again.
Which is EX. It's not my. Could be example.
Yeah, example. That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was EXP was an example, wasn't it?
Eh?
Exp. Was it explain?
Exp is experience, isn't it?
I always thought X is excluding, like X fat.
Okay. Does it change the super chat massively?
He just wants his Necron. He just wants Necrons to have grenades. I feel that's what he's just pushing for. Fuck everyone else. Necrons get grenades. Done.
But
The thing is, though, right? Why don't Tyranids get grenades? Right? Do you remember Lictors used to have the flesh
Flesh
hooks
hooks.
that would fire out at people? They should get it, you know? On like acid spray on stuff. I think
you stink.
more universal. I think when you think like a lot of armies have +1 to wound, +1 to charge, +1 to hit. You know, -1 to hit, -1 to wound. I felt like those could all be universal stratagems, right? But then the stratagems that you have for your armies are where the narrative gets in, but you have to find a way of being able to use them without.
Well, exactly. If you make all the core stratagems really, really good, and then you make all the army stratagems very, very narrative that don't really offer you any kind of tactical benefit, people will just use the core ones. And this is where balancing stratagems is actually really fucking hard. And then
Crumpet says, e.g., for example. I'm with
well,
you,
we're
Joe.
not gonna dwell on this, Joe, are we?
I am.
Elec Command has spent a lot of money. All right.
I'll fight. I won't. He might win.
Probably will win.
Probably will.
You keep telling me how tired you are today. Today, for Joe, is sponsored by coffee. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm so tired.
Are you enjoying that coffee?
I didn't get a Monster this morning. I finished it already. I find that with that stuff that you've got, it's quite gritty at the bottom.
Is it?
You've got a little silt.
It'll stir it better.
But that's like we haven't got like I really like your normal basic bitch kind of big granule
Instant like Nescafe
yeah.
type stuff.
That one is like the dust that's left over afterwards. That someone just comes and sweeps it into a pot and then sells it for you
I've never
for
had a
more
problem
money.
with that coffee being grainy.
Yeah. I find it's like silty at the bottom.
Never had an issue with it.
It's like licking a wet shoe.
Yeah. Never had a problem with that, Joe. It might be a you issue.
Thank you, Simon Evans, 5 good memberships. I think I've already done him.
You have, yeah. We are on a mighty 81 chat. We've got 25 minutes to go. Just 25 minutes to go, Joe. Yeah. We might yet again on another Liam and Joe show hit the target.
Yeah.
There's 262 people in chat. If everyone gifts 5.
I think one point he has got is I don't like having detachment strats and not army strats. Right? So if you had 12 army strats, but then you had your 6 to 12 army detachments, I think that's fine. Because, like, when you look at the Chaos Codex, for instance, compared to the Space Marine Codex, the Space Marine Codex, every detachment has fucking Armour of Contempt in it.
Well, most.
They all do.
I don't think they
all
do.
Space Marine detachments have Armour of Contempt
I
in
don't
it.
think they do. I don't think they do.
They do. Right? Chaos Space Marines have 2 detachments. Where are you going?
Gotta go prove it.
You're going to prove a point.
Yeah.
Whereas Chaos Space Marines have 2 detachments that have it in. And it's like, I just kind of feel like Armour of Contempt should be an army stratagem
Yes.
for Space Marines and an army stratagem for Chaos Space Marines. And then their detachments, because if you think about it, if every detachment has Armour of Contempt in it, you've realistically only got 5 stratagems for that detachment.
So do you think there's an argument for 3 stratagems that are army-wide, then every detachment has 3 stratagems?
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
It's better to balance, easy to balance.
Easier to balance, yeah.
100% easy to
Because
balance.
if you think, right, if you look at Bully Boys, for example, right, Mega Knobs now have to pay a tax because of 1 detachment. It's not stratagem specific. I was just saying that, like, I was saying that, like I find it weird how, like, for some detachments have better stratagems than other detachments, so therefore units that are better in those detachments get taxed higher because of how efficient they are in that one space.
Oh, in this book, they all have Armour of Contempt. You are correct.
Yeah.
I apologise, Joe. You were right. Yeah. It's just the Dark Angels ones, they don't all have Armour of Contempt. Tank the Unknowing, thank you for 1 gifted membership. We're on 82.
Thank you. He's looked in the books, people. I was right. I am the all-knowing. Sometimes. Thank you, Bull Hayward. The restrictions on breathing out triggered.
The restrictions on breathing out triggered
My PTSD
Read it, come on.
panic attacks.
You can do it.
From my time as a private security contractor.
You struggling with words today, mate?
Yes. The restrictions on breathing out triggered by PTSD panic attacks from my time as a private security contractor.
This is a COVID-based conversation.
Oh, yes, yeah, with the mask. I hated it so much.
I wore them, but I detested them.
Yeah, I felt really sorry for people that wore glasses as well. Because you breathe and then the air that goes out normally goes up into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. The people I really hated, right, that used COVID as an excuse to get really fit and healthy. Bastards. Well, it's the rest of us who were sat there eating our 40th donut of the day.
I wish I'd done
in a
that.
pool of our own sweat.
I wish I'd used. Well, again, I wasn't able. I was working the whole time. I didn't get any time off because COVID and all that. I wish I'd used COVID when I couldn't do anything in my time off, in my off shift, to get fit.
Yeah.
Because it's much harder now.
Yeah.
Now I've had. So I left the army officially in September 2014. So now I've had basically 10 years of just not doing any real exercise and not being super fit and not eating well 10 years is a lot of undoing. It's a lot of undoing.
So obviously I'm doing exercise and things now, and for 2 years since I was ill, I've not really moved my body much. I'm going to be honest. My body has been mainly for just putting more things into.
Yeah, mine's been similar.
And it was so weird going to the gym and being like, oh my God, it's so horrible. But now I'm at a state where I'm getting back. But then I think, like, if I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self, right, I remember being at college, like being 18, sixth form, I was doing like public services and stuff. I was near top of the class doing the fucking beep tests.
Yeah.
On like sit-ups and
I love
push-ups
a beep
and running.
test.
I was so good at it. I was so healthy. I'd cycle my bike to school like 18 miles every day. And then I got a car and learned about drinking and women. Right?
You live the life of most young males in the UK, Jay.
And then it just kind of evaporated from there. And then I've had an up-down kind of relationship with fitness and like my body shape. And if I go back and be like, don't stop. Don't drink. Have a car, that's useful.
I was in incredible shape in the army, was drinking like a fish.
I know, but you're in the army, it's part of your job.
Yeah.
Right? I worked in the kitchen. Doing beep tests is not part of a kitchen job.
No.
You know? So...
Yeah. Alan, thank you so much for becoming a Hasir tier member all by yourself. What a legend. That's 83. 17 to go, Joe. 17 to go. We might do 17.
Am I the biggest swearer today?
Two more people doing 1 and then 3 more people doing 5. We're done.
I think, Ron, when I'm tired, I have less of a filter. In terms
yeah. He's not had Monster today.
I've not had any
I'm
Monster.
very proud of him.
For a day. Let's clarify, I've not had it because I haven't been able to buy it.
Let's not worry about that for now, chat. I'm incredibly proud of him right
Payday
now.
tomorrow.
Because there's been no Monster.
Off to Costco I go.
Incredibly proud of him right now. He's leading to coffee, which is still caffeine, but it's better than Monster. Proud of you, Joe.
Elect man, I wasn't drink driving, although I did live on Exmoor. So,
so that was probably quite prevalent.
Right, I remember I'd finish my shift at the pub, and then we'd sit in the pub drinking and smoking. Oh, those were the days. We could smoke indoors.
Dan Skippy, thanks for the 1. Do you remember? Right. Do you remember when the smoking ban first came? So I've never smoked ever in my life.
In the streets.
I've never smoked in my life ever. I've never had any interest. I think that I'm very, very sorry if this is you. I think that if you smoke currently in 2024, you're a fucking moron with the science that exists around it now. Personal opinion, right? Anyway, I remember when that first ban came in, the first time I went to a nightclub and they hadn't like properly installed all the air conditioning and stuff at that point, and you go into the bar, you're like, it just smells like sweaty people.
Yeah.
It was fucking vile.
That cigarette smoke was working hard, you know?
It was doing some masking that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like going to a 40k tournament now, you know?
Better than Monster isn't a high bar, correct, Danak? Look, Sam says, good work, Mr. The J. See?
Lidl do a good energy drink, actually.
No energy drink is good. No energy drink is good.
It's all good.
Nope. The only good energy drink, right, is Lucozade, because it's proven to cure man flu.
No, Lucozade is only good for hangovers. And that's
So it does that as well, yeah. It does that too, 100%.
To clarify, I haven't properly drank in over 10 years. Like I've had drinks. I'm a big fan of summer. Lidl and Audi do a freeze and squeeze cocktail bag.
Okay.
Right, it's just a pre-mixed cocktail. It's just a slushy for adults, essentially.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of those during the summer.
I'm into it.
But when I did, I was like Lucozade every morning.
You just go to LVO next year and get the smoking indoors. No, I don't want it. I hate it. I hate smoking.
I couldn't do it now.
Detest smoking.
But at the time, I remember being like 18, 19, finishing my shift, sitting at the bar, smoking a cigarette or a cigar. There's a group of us and we're feeling fancy, right? And then you'd leave the pub, and there would be a bunch of locals stood being breathalyzed by the police because they'd hide around the corner from the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan's now become a Scold. He's upgraded to Scold already.
A Scold?
What legend. What an absolute legend. We're on 91, chat. 91 members, 9 to go. Go get a 0-calorie can. No, Monster's terrible. Don't touch this stuff.
It's not terrible.
It fucking is
It's
terrible.
the nectar of life.
It's terrible shit. It's full of shite. I did some research, because I used to drink it, Joe.
Yeah.
I have been a person. I still think that the flavour, for example, of Mango Loco is phenomenal. I'm not questioning that.
Phenomenal.
And then I looked at what was in it. And then you do some research and some Googling about what's in it, and you go, oh no. Oh no, I'm not drinking that again.
Yeah, but people still eat chicken nuggets.
Correct,
Right.
they do.
And they still eat
that doesn't make them good,
And
though.
they still have hot dogs.
The argument that people still eat chicken nuggets or have hot dogs, therefore Monster's fine, is like saying people still take crack cocaine.
Yeah.
That's not an argument.
I could. Would you
Help the
prefer?
weight loss a bit.
It was. I'd be so thin. No. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke anymore. I just need something.
We're having something. We've got the gym. That's something.
Yeah, but that's not something that makes me feel good whilst I'm doing it.
Yeah, it
Drinking
does.
Monster makes me feel good when I'm doing
You
it.
lie. You told me the other day that you've been feeling much better lately.
After the gym.
Actually, so it does
After
do
I
so.
got home, had a shower, and sat down, the feeling of sitting down and being clean is the good part of the gym.
Kai says 20 Marlboroughs, bottle of Lucozade, and a pack of Haribo Star Mix is the breakfast of champions.
Oh my God. You basically described my entire morning at Weatherspoons.
Just got a mental image of Liam and Joe walking into a bar, sniffing the air, and loudly proclaiming, "Brother,
Yeah. Honestly, I remember I'd wake up, and where I used to work for the Duke of Wellington, Weatherspoons in Minehead,
Yeah.
or the Welly, the locals call it. And opposite them was a Martin McCall's. So I'd go in there, I'd buy Lucozade and either Haribo cigarettes, and so it was either Haribo or a massive bar of dairy milk, and then my cigarettes for the day. And I go, and that's all I eat for the entire day, apart from little bits of food.
Lord.
Yeah, I was so thin.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you were.
Oh.
Can we argue that cocaine is more fun than Monster? Probably,
Yeah.
probably better for you as well overall.
Financially, probably not.
Lurking and working, drinking a Monster and vaping. I'm full of good choices.
Yeah.
We have different ideas as to what good choices are, Dave.
Yeah.
Winners do drugs.
I can't give up Monster. It's the only good
You
thing
can.
in life.
You absolutely can give it up.
I could.
You're choosing not to. You can.
That is correct. Until I can find a drink that I like more. Right. I went through a bit of an Iron Brew phase when I found out you could buy it for 60p a can from Poundland. Because they were like monster-sized cans for Iron Brew. But the problem about Iron Brew is there's only one flavour.
Yeah,
It's
true.
Iron Brew flavour.
What about like Naked Smoothie? Although they're fucking expensive, to be fair.
They're really expensive.
They're not that much more expensive than Monster, but they are quite
I think
expensive.
if there was a brand of drink which tasted good, was zero sugar, and gave me caffeine, right?
You don't need caffeine. You currently think you need caffeine because you've become caffeine dependent. You don't need caffeine. That's like saying, I need nicotine. No, you're nicotine dependent. So that's why you think you need it, but you don't actually need it. Your body doesn't need nicotine to survive. Your body doesn't need caffeine to survive. That's the science.
I need it.
No, you don't. You don't need
My
caffeine.
body does not believe in science, nor does it believe in proof or religion. It just believes in what it feels at that moment in time. Like I believe in ice cream when it's really hot. You know,
With caffeine in it.
with caffeine. If I could put pre-workout into ice cream, I would. That's my.
I've got some pre-workout turning up today.
That's my new Monster.
I've got some pre-workout turning up today. Non-stimulating, no caffeine in it.
Can't find you. Why is healthy stuff more expensive?
That fucking grips me though, actually. That really pisses me off. And actually, I've been having a conversation with my PT about this not too long ago, Sam, and this is unfortunately the truth of the world right now, and I fucking hate it, and I don't want to sound like some lunatic conspiracy theorist right now, but the sooner people realise that individuals' ill health is a multi-million pound business. People want you to drink Monster. People want you to eat chicken nuggets. People want you to be fat and unhealthy because that's how they make more money off of you. And the fact that years and years and years and years and years ago, food was a price, right? And then they add loads of chemicals and shit to our food to make it last longer. Oh, but we're adding loads of stuff to your food, so we're going to have to charge you more for it now because we're adding loads of stuff to your food, and food got more expensive. And then we're going to take all this shit out because it's actually really bad for you, and everything's organic. And if we're going to put the label organic on, guess what? We're charging more again. How does that make sense? But ill health is a multi-billion-dollar pound industry. It just is.
Tastes good though.
I mean, and that's how it's such a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Weird to
As we said recently, if sugar, like white sugar now that you get in a packet and you put in your fucking tea and coffee, if that was literally discovered today, they reckon it'd be classified as a Class A drug here in the UK because of its level of addictiveness and how bad it is for your health.
Isn't coffee supposed to be like cost per litre is the most expensive liquid in its liquid form is the most expensive liquid in the world?
Coffee?
Yeah.
I don't
If you
know.
go based on like Costa and all, like if you
I'm not sure because there are certain like champagnes and whiskies out there that would piss all over the cost of coffee.
I know, but in terms of like mass production,
Oh, possibly. I don't know.
like wine and champagnes and stuff aren't mass produced. That's why they're more expensive because their rarity is what makes them expensive.
Yeah. It annoys the shit out of me. Yeah, trillions, you're right. It annoys the hell out of me that people, we've had this conversation recently, people want to make better, healthier choices, and then they go to the supermarket or go to the shop and they put the healthier choices in their shopping trolley or in their baskets or whatever. They get to the checkout, they pay for it, and they're essentially financially punished for making better choices.
My monthly, as a household, because obviously I'm eating healthier, my partner's eating healthier, so therefore my children have to eat healthier. Our monthly outgoings have gone up by like 400 quid on food.
It's mad.
Because
just to eat better.
Before, you could spend 4 quid and 4 people have a full-size pizza each.
Yeah.
Right? You could spend 4 quid and buy like some beans. Like a few bits of vegetables will cost you over a fiver. And then you still haven't got your fish.
Did you, however, at the same time drop portion sizes?
Yeah.
Because
we have to, because we can't afford to buy as much.
The other thing we do is because they sell it in a packet. They go here, and what a lot of people do is they go, oh, it's a packet, eat the fucking packet, and then you look at the back and you're like, this packet is 4 servings. You're like, oh shit, I just ate the whole one. And then you go, hang on, I've been eating this level of food the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So people often are like, but I'm eating healthy. Yeah, but you're eating enough for 4 people in a single day, and that's why you're not creating a calorie deficit. So,
yeah, but sometimes, like, if you look at things like Weight Watchers say you could eat all the ham and lettuce that you want. That's like because you have points, don't you, in the day? I've never done Weight Watchers, but I've been told it's
my
based
mum
on...
did years ago, and yes.
You have 20 points to spend in a day, but some things are 0. You can literally eat nothing but that.
Yeah.
You can literally have a constant stream going in and a constant stream coming out because it just counts as 0.
Yeah. They're talking about you now in chat. Have you seen?
What?
First of all, Voidable Mage is absolutely shocked and surprised that Joe has children.
I know.
Joe used to be a sexy, many broken heart, Miss Joe. Yeah. Someone says Joe's semen has got to be worth a ton. It's just Monster at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less Monster. Like I have like a Monster every other day.
A packet of biscuits is 1 serving. Fact.
Yeah. Those cottage pies down at Lidl, which are like bigger than this iPad, it says like serves 4, and I'm like no.
Pass me my eating spoon.
serves 1. We tried it, didn't we? We had 1 each.
Yeah.
And I think I did better, but you had the sweats after.
I had the I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think I nearly finished it, but
you eat the whole cottage pie, and then you have to crawl to the kitchen to put the rubbish away.
My portion sizes have gone right down, and what I've done is I focused on getting the right things in: protein, carbs, that sort of stuff. But that's by the by. We are 6 minutes away from ending and 9 gifted memberships away from target.
Have we mentioned the fact that Crumpets Panda gifted a membership?
We haven't done that one yet. No,
thank you,
so
Kev Thacker, for gifting a membership. Thank you, Alex Donnelly, for becoming a skjold. Thank you, Doa Pete, for 1 gifted membership. Thank you, Dan Skippy, for 1 gifted membership.
Oh. Wasn't there a 5 in there as well somewhere?
Vlad von Carstein.
For the 5. Thank you, Vlad. Love you. Also a Thane, by the way.
My semen isn't green.
I bet it glows in the dark, though.
Thank you, Rosanero, for 10 gifted memberships.
That makes it 50 from him.
Yeah.
That puts us over the target again. Look at that.
He's definitely on crack. I don't think you can buy the crack with the amount of gifteds he gives.
I'm getting close to the point where I'll be able to comfortably take Thursday off for my child's 7th birthday. Comfortably take it off and not be like, I should be earning money right now. Thank you, people. Thank you.
The only downside to this barbecue idea is that it's two things that I don't enjoy doing.
What?
Sitting outside
You don't have to
and
sit
sitting
outside.
in large groups of people.
It's not.
You can all go sit outside in the sun. I'll just play.
It's not going to be large groups of people.
I'll just go and play Warzone.
Do you know how I know it won't be large groups of people?
Yeah.
Because Lucy's inviting people, and she doesn't like large groups of people.
Yeah.
My mum and dad will be there. My brother, wife, and their kids will be there. You and probably Brom and his missus and little one. That's literally probably it.
That's like all the people too many.
I
swear the last time you had a big party in your house, I just sat in your office.
That happens, yes. You do that
and
quite a lot.
played Warzone.
Yeah, that's a very Joe thing to do.
Thank you, Alex Donnelly, for 5 gifted memberships.
Alan is an N at the end, not an X. 7th birthday is the first one I remember, no pressure.
Yeah.
Vlad the VTuber. Great sisters videos.
I think I might be a bit more autistic than I think I am. I'm like, no people, no large groups. Well, it's weird because I'm really happy to go to tournaments. And like, I like to go in public places. I just don't like it when people look at me.
Finally joined a live stream, again live. First sentence I hear, my semen isn't green. Actually the content I'm signing up for.
Yes.
100%. Thank you so much, dude. Thursday stream was just a camera focus on the barbecue so people could watch food cook. Just to make Brom lean over to salute. No, wait, don't worry. I won't. Brom isn't allowed anywhere near a barbecue. I've been to barbecues that he does and I end up just taking the tongs off of him. He's not good with meat.
It's not what I heard. Or seen. I think I do like barbecuing stuff because you stand next to the barbecue and no one comes near you. I think I'm learning more about myself the more I talk about myself.
The idea of barbecue open, meat on barbecue, tongs in one hand, beer in the other hand, sunshine out, is just Liam in happy place.
No.
And what I typically do is we like set the table up outside with all the food and stuff on it, and then there's those like empty trays for meat. And then what I'll do is I will literally stand there cooking meat for like 4 hours straight and just constantly putting it on the table, and I'll just keep cooking. And at the end of it, Lucy's like, are you hungry? I was like, no. Because I'll put like, all the chicken legs will go in and one, I'll just eat one, and then I'll keep cooking. And then bring me the next pack of meat! Then I'll cook. Oh, I fucking love it. Absolutely love it.
The biggest mistake of my partner's life, besides being in a relationship with me, was taking me to Bournemouth Beach one day. Because I told her that I don't really like going to the beach because of sand. But I also get bored incredibly quickly.
No.
And as I've discovered, women in general, they're like going to a place where it's hot and just lying around like lizards.
Well, Luce doesn't do that. I do that.
They just like lie there and just kind of cook. Whereas I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm bored. I want to go and do something. And I'm like, I'm bored. I don't like just sitting here. I'm surrounded by sun and heat. And my skin hurts because I'm burning. And I want to go in the sea, but it's cold, you know.
Fuck me, you're such a fucking Englishman.
And I
sometimes.
When everyone's like, oh, let's go swim in the sea. And I'm like, yeah, but that means all of our possessions are left unattended.
Yeah.
And so I have zero trust.
You can go and do some breaststroke next to some toilet paper. Yeah.
I'm just like...
Keep your mouth shut in case you swallow a human one. Brother.
And it's like, so I'm like, I don't want to leave my stuff unattended. So I just sit there whilst everyone else goes swimming because they're like, just leave it. I'm like, no, because our phones now.
I absolutely hate sitting on the beach. I fucking despise it. I can do it for like 10 minutes. I like being in the sun, as you know.
Yeah.
I can do the beach for like 10 minutes, but I just don't like the beach. Because you're like, oh, it's a beautiful, hot, sunny day. So I'm going to go to the beach. Oh, there's a wind. And then I get fucking sand in my face. And then the blanket gets blown out. Oh, I fucking
The best
hate
parts
it.
of the beach are fish and chips, ice cream stands, and 2p pushers. 2p pusher machines in the arcades. It's great. I'm happy to sit on the sea wall and eat my fish and chips.
Luce won't go to the beach too much anyway because she doesn't like the hot weather. So win.
Yeah,
I love the hot weather. Yesterday, at the height of the day, at like 1 o'clock, I went and sat in the garden in just my pants.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful. Just basked like a lizard. Love it. Then I felt charged up and I went back in and carried on working.
I think my partner did send me a video the other day of about a man who was on the beach and he had a remote control digger.
I bet you'd love that.
And I was like, That'll keep me busy.
Yeah, I bet.
Put a big umbrella over me.
Yeah, and a little yellow hat.
And a little yellow hat. Because I like with my terrain, I really like the small details. So I'll have to make a fully functioning kind of quarry.
Do you get like zebra striped sunburn on your head where the hair strands are over?
No. If I get really sweaty, then I do end up with a burnt patch there because obviously it opens up a bit.
Yeah.
But I'd wear a baseball cap, but my partner doesn't like men in hats, apparently.
No?
Yeah.
No.
So I can't wear a baseball cap. I think I'd look weird in a baseball cap, though.
I don't know.
A backwards one. I used to wear a backwards one.
I've recently become more of a baseball cap kind of person.
I used to wear a backwards one when I worked in the kitchens, like TJ from Recess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely recently become much more of a baseball cap type person, but then I feel like it's because I like wear bike helmet, get off bike, hair shitty, put baseball cap on, cool. Doesn't matter that your head looks like you've fucking fallen out of a fucking hedge. But like, I don't feel like it works on content. I think people that wear baseball caps on content should probably be fucking slapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about beanies? I love a beanie.
I know you love a beanie. Yeah.
I love it. It's my favourite hat is a beanie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have one more super chat from Mr. Dave B. There it is at the bottom.
You distracted me working. You got me in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, the working lurking crew.
Working lurking crew.
Yeah, I love the working lurking crew. I should go to Barry Island. It's always sunny. Says Packing Wood. Great name.
I don't think it is. It's in Wales.
Yeah. I don't know. Wales has got some lovely beaches.
I'm sure.
I used to go to Tenby all the time when I was younger. Tenby's got a lovely beach.
Where's Tenby?
Wales.
Don't say Wales. I fucking knew what you were going to say.
Right. If you stand in Porlock, which is and you look directly across the water and to the left a bit, Tenby's down there. Or if you go into Wales and you travel along the south coast past Cardiff, it's down there.
Okay.
Yeah, some lovely blue clear water. A lot of jellyfish. Jellyfish are a sign of clean water.
Shower jellyfish.
Shower jellyfish, yeah. Yeah.
Right, anyway, you people have been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Liam and Joe show.
Who drinks tea on the beach?
If you fucking hell, if you have other comments about things like command points of 10th edition and we haven't covered them, feel free to chuck them in the video comments after the stream has finished. I read every single one, all of them. I think you missed my last super chat to select, man. There's been so many. Have you done any of these?
Oh, I've missed these too, apparently. Thank you, Sam Deacon. I think a major issue is fixed unit options. It's just boring. Used to love building army lists.
I used to love building army lists. I don't do it anymore. I used to sit at home with Battlescribe open and spend ages tinkering with lists and adding a weapon here and changing a model there. And I don't do it anymore, and it really made me sad. Really made me sad.
Yeah, it's like when you're like, oh, I'm 5 points over. I need to get this unit in. I could just drop a unit of one model and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
I remember like everyone was running six models all the time, weren't they? Because of efficiency in points.
I miss that too.
Thank you, Alec Man. He says, I like the idea of heroes joining units, one-page rules and conquest. Last argument of kings do it best. There's flavour in leaders having an honour guard.
Ooh.
I do like the idea of like having honour guard units. Like when command squads used to be cool. Like Space Marine command squads now are a bit shit because they're fixed weapon. One heavy bolter, one bolt gun, one guy with a sword, one guy with a banner. You know?
I just missed making choices for all my units, mate, not just command squads.
I feel like Games Workshop need to make a 10th edition granular and non-granular edition.
No, I don't. No.
No?
No. They can't balance one fucking game and get it right. It's in a good place now, but they can't write one gaming system and get it right. The last thing I want to do is be doing two gaming systems and getting both fucking wrong.
That's true. Thank you, Sir Galahad. It says, being unable to copy lists in the 40k app is a killer.
Is that a thing? You can't copy?
You can't copy a list. I mean, you can export it and copy it and paste it somewhere else, but you can't duplicate the list and then go in and change a bit. You can duplicate units inside it, but you can't duplicate the list itself. I imagine...
It's so close to greatness, that app. And there's so many tiny little functions that seem like they're very simple that it can't do. It's so close to greatness.
I imagine being able to duplicate lists would then break the system for people that don't pay, that only get to have one list.
Yeah.
Because I imagine technically someone probably somewhere wanted to have duplicate lists in, but then it broke the ability to have two for
Maybe.
one for free.
Anyway, thank you. Sorry about that, Alec, man. I blame this man here with the tablet. This is why I give him the tablet. That way, if it goes wrong, it's all his fault. It's all his fault.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But thank you so much for all the donations to people. Thank you so much specifically for all the gifted memberships as well. You're amazing human beings, and we love you all very, very dearly.
Yeah, I'll go to the charity shop this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'll get a lovely outfit
For £20.
for £20.
For Tuesday.
If it doesn't work, I'll just go Primark.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You people have been absolutely incredible. We do have 2 more streams for this month. So tonight at 7:30 is Sisters versus Guard, using all the new updates from last week. My list, I am cutting shit out, and I'm still not under points yet. Fucking pain in the arse. And then Joe's gonna be bringing the Guard with the new lethal hits mechanic type stuff that's going on, and some of the changes that's happened to things like indirect. But thank you so much for hanging out today. Hopefully you'll join us this evening at 7:30 for that live game. Kyle will be on the deck. Tomorrow at 8:30, we're back with 40k After Dark before the weekend hits, and I get to go away for a nice weekend with Luce and no children for a change, which I'm very much looking forward to. Very, very much looking forward to. Oh my God, I'm looking forward to it. Have I said I'm looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, you people have been absolutely incredible, especially the gifters, especially Ross and Aero today. Love you. Love you so much. Best chat ever. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.